Gooden's next step is to provide a brand of paternalism that is, as he says, conciliatory or a compromise between the two competing theories of rights or what it means to possess a right. So remember, he does not want to provide a brand of paternalism that is completely based in the interest theory of rights, because the interest theory of rights is generally seen as problematic, right? It's a dangerous idea to let the government judge for people what's objectively in their interest. Perhaps that will lead to a slippery slope. So that theory of rights, the interest theory, and a paternalism based in that theory is not really the direction that Gooden wants to go. And paternalism and choice theory don't really jive, as we've already pointed out. So how is he going to provide a form of paternalism that, somehow navigates between these two theories? And this is how he's going to do it. So basically, Gooden paternalism, as I will call it, Gooden's brand of paternalism, aims to protect a person's genuine interests, their objective interests, okay? But only when that person would choose to do so themselves if they could. Okay, now I'm going to repeat that because I think this is an important idea and an important idea to understanding Gooden's argument. So Gooden paternalism will aim to protect a person's genuine interests, their objective interests, but only when that person would choose to do so themselves if they could. Another way of saying this is that the government is justified in interfering in a person's life in order to protect their objective interests, but only when there is some grounds for doing so in that person's own value judgments. Okay? Now, to make sense of this, I think we need to talk about this idea that Gooden brings up of the weakness of will. Many drug users in particular would like to stop using the drug. According to a 2013 Gallup poll, 74% of cigarette smokers would like to quit, but they can't. Okay? Gooden would say that they are suffering from a weakness of will. Part of this person's will would like to stop, but there is another part of them that evidently does not want to stop, and that part is winning out, right? The part that would like to quit smoking cigarettes just can't win over the part that would like to continue using the drug. And so this is a good example of when paternalism or Gooden paternalism would be justifiable, okay? It is judged that, for instance, smoking cigarettes is objectively not in a person's interest. It's not in the interest of their health or their life. But that's not enough, okay? That would be traditional paternalism. On top of that, there is a part of the person themselves that judges that smoking cigarettes is wrong, that it's bad of themselves to continue to partake in this harmful activity. This is when the government is justified in passing laws to protect people. When it is objectively in their interests to pass this law to protect them, and there is a subjective preference, a subjective value judgment in people themselves, such as 74% of cigarette smokers, to stop using this drug or partaking in this activity. So Gooden sees this as a compromise between the interest theory and the choice theory. It's not saying that the government can pass laws to protect people whenever it's justified, or whenever it's judged to be in the people's objective interest. That's not enough. And it's not saying that we're going to just respect people's choices, whatever those choices may be. What it's saying is we are going to judge what is in a person's objective interest, but on top of that, we are going to look at people's own preferences. And if there is a part of that person, if there is a part of their will that would like to stop partaking in this activity, that is when paternalism, good in paternalism, is justified.